Jim Rome takes on sports.
I will always have a complicated relationship with this game, but people evolve. So do sports. Do not make me regret this. Do not make me devolve back to that guy that so many clones wish that I still was. And do not embarrass the entire country. Now, I can go back. I can get there fast. Lose tonight, and you got a real problem. Do not blow it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
You've been warned.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Wednesday, July 15th, 8 a.m., right here on Jocks. Continue talking ACC Media Days, which begins here in under an hour. Taylor Tannenbaum of the ACC Network, also Florida State alum, now joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. So we will continue the conversation there where we just left it, talking Seminoles. The schedule feels difficult to just overcome mentally when you're talking about this team. Even if some of the pieces fit and work, it's going to be a tall task to stack a ton of wins against that, Taylor. But what should Florida State fans look at and have some real optimism about this team maybe being better than we're imagining?
No, you're right. Good morning, guys. I was just looking at the schedule as I finish up my notes. Commissioner's actually about to speak in a couple of minutes, but you guys were more important for me right now.
Thank you.
I look at the schedule, I'm like, man, this is tough. The one thing I'm looking for, and I know you guys as college football aficionados and just knowing the game and what Florida State is all about and the history of it, it felt like last year, I don't want to say, I guess I will say, the pride was lacking. What are you playing for? Are you playing for the history of this program? Do you truly care about, that logo on your helmet and not just the name on the back, but the name on the front too? And, I've heard a lot of alumni talk about that who have worn that logo and that helmet and that jersey. And I think what you can look for this year is the will to win regardless of what the outcome is. And I know Tony White, who's the defensive coordinator, talked about it this spring. Like he said, we got a lot of the bull crap out and the people, who weren't playing for the right reasons and who had an attitude problem. And I do think that was part of the problem last year. Now, how it translates on the field, I don't know, especially with this schedule. But I think just the way that they play football is going to be really important for morale, not just internally, but externally too, because the saxophones, as they say on TikTok these days, will start to get loud real quick if you're not seeing at least some decent football on the field.
I don't understand the reference. Not on TikTok.
Where did that saxophone thing start from? What is that from?
It's just a sound that's on. And granted, I'm not on.
No,
TikTok.
I know what it is. I
saw
saw the security guard when the Knicks were going to win, which was where I first saw it. It was amazing. But what movie or show is that from originally? Do we know?
I don't know.
John, do you know?
Get down to the bottom of this.
No, man.
It's got to be from something.
I got nothing.
Okay.
What's
What's more annoying, people trying to use that still now or people doing their Netflix documentary thing?
Oh, I'm so over the Netflix documentary thing. That
Nobody
was dead
cares.
in 2 days.
No one cares what
No.
your fake documentary is going to be because they're not greenlighting it anyway, so just don't do that. Sorry, Greg, you can go ahead now.
I'm with you.
Yeah, totally lost on all this, but I appreciate it. As the boomer in the room, I'll just continue on. Help me out with this. Cole and I were just talking off air. We know Miami's won. That's pretty understandable. No one's pushing back on that. I want to know how deep you can go for the cases that could be made for two. Because it starts, to me, probably with SMU, Louisville in that vicinity, 1, 2, Clemson in there, maybe potentially as well. It goes probably all the way down to 10, if you're really going through it. So how many teams should we be considering as possible candidates to make it to Charlotte for the ACC championship game to face Miami?
That's a great point. We had our production meeting yesterday, and Jimbo Fisher, it's like give your dark horse is one of the questions we toss up, and everyone all the analysts have to give their answer, and his was everybody outside of Miami. Because it's one of those, I don't think you have a clear number 2 or number 3, number 4, number 5. It really can go 10 deep. And maybe that's an exciting thing for this league because it will add some intrigue, and it's not just going to be, one team, 2 teams vying for that top spot, but it also has, makes for a lot of question marks going into the year. I do think you hit the nail on the head with SMU and Louisville, no question. They've earned that respect. you have to throw Clemson in there because they too, I look at last year as more of an outlier on a graph, and you hope that it's not a trend and it is more of, just a point that, was a blip on the radar for Dabo Swinney. I feel like every great team is going to have something like that, but you can throw in like even an NC State, right, who in my opinion has a favorable schedule and a quarterback in CJ Bailey that maybe a lot of people aren't talking about, and they've added some playmakers and they have more experience now at their coordinator positions than they did last year. And look at Virginia Tech. Like, sure, it's year one under James Franklin, but you guys know full well what James Franklin has done everywhere he's gone at Vanderbilt and Penn State. And Grunkemeyer showed some things at Penn State, and they have one of the best newcomer classes in the country. So if they can get the best out of some of these young players and these transfers, like, why not Virginia Tech in this league? Georgia Tech, what are they going to look like? They certainly have the offensive line to do it, but, you have Alberto Mendoza. What does he look like? Does he end up looking like his brother did at Indiana? I don't know. So I think I'm with you. They can go as deep as 10.
What do we know about North Carolina, which was the story coming in last year? Like, all the noise, all the talk, all the hype, and not for all the right reasons, but it just was what it was. Is there reason to believe that some of that can settle down and there's real consistency we could see with that football team this year?
I'm going to have to see it to believe it. I don't think they've earned that. 4-8 is not going to get you any kind of excitement going into the next year. It's a roster that I don't think many people know anything about except for individual names. There's not a ton of consistency. What you do know is the track record of a Bobby Petrino, right, and the numbers that he can put up in his system offensively. But what kind of players do they have to plug and play in that system? There's still a quarterback competition going on. There are some playmakers. They're young. They have a ton of talent from that ESPN 300. How quickly can they get up to speed and go? And how much can they develop? Like, that was the big thing last year. I don't think you saw development from this team. It was really stagnant, and that's really uncharacteristic of a Bill Belichick coach team. Like, defensively, they were making all of these mistakes. The quarterback position was all over the place. And now Gio Lopez is up the road at Wake Forest, and I can't wait to see how that transpires, because if he does well at Wake Forest, it's going to put a lot of heat on Carolina. Like, what's going on over there? So do I expect a ACC championship caliber team? No. Could they be? Maybe, but it's the same thing as last year. Like, I think we don't know what we don't know, and that's a lot.
Looking at the North Carolina team, though, they really did get better. I mean, everyone kind of gave up on them. Like, there was some improvement down the stretch with Bobby Petrino coming in. There is still some intrigue. When I look at the top of the contenders, to me, it's Louisville. I feel like they're kind of flying under the radar. They get Ole Miss week 1.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have a more mobile quarterback than they've had in the past, even though they've gone with the portal multiple times. I love Lincoln Keenholz and what he could become. Got great running backs. Do have to replace Bell at receiver. That'll be tricky, but they got good defensive personnel. So Louisville, to me, that's the one I'm kind of riding. Tell me where I might be wrong there.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And it's really crazy when you look at Louisville, and every year they bring in like 30-plus transfers under Jeff Brom. It's a new quarterback every single year, and you're continually getting the same production. And what we've talked about, and that's a credit to Jeff Brom, and that's exactly why Louisville wanted their guy there, is because of what he can do. But what you constantly have seen is year one, they get to the ACC championship, and they had chances, man, against Florida State, who was without Jordan Travis at quarterback. They couldn't win that ACC championship, and that's fine. Then the next year, they pull off some big wins, man. You beat Clemson. You beat Miami. You do all of these things, but then you lose to Stanford because back-to-back penalties late in the game and just some silly mistakes. You compile a couple of unnecessary losses last year after you do something great in the Gables. And it's like, can this year be the year that you don't stub your toe when you do have the talent and you do have the wins to get you ranked and in position to be in a college football playoff? And I think, yeah, sure, it's year 4 for Jeff Brom. I have all the faith in the world in him. And I think they've made some changes, too, on the defensive side at that coordinator position that could certainly benefit them. So I'm high on Louisville, too. Again, why not in this league? Can't Louisville be a team that makes it to the CFP?
Clemson take a big step forward this year, in your mind?
Big? I'm not sure. Better than 7-6. I would hope so. again, they have the talent, but like I don't. Christopher Vezina has been there a long time. He knows what it's like to be a Clemson Tiger. He certainly has the playmakers. I'd like to see it in real time, and I'm curious of that leash, if I'm being quite frank, with Kate Reynolds as a heralded freshman coming in, and there's certainly been some chatter, and I know Dabo Swinney's tried to pull that a little bit, but, what does that look like throughout the course of the year, and how quickly do they turn to a freshman, if that's the case at all? And, Gideon Davidson in the backfield, how does he fill in that void and kind of elevate as still quite a young, inexperienced player? And defensively, year 2 under Tom Allen, I think they have the bodies. Does it look a little bit better? I'm excited to talk to Sammy Brown and Will Helt here this week, because I think they have some incredible guys who are going to be great even at the next level. But that was the question mark last year. You had all this talent. Where was the disconnect? And I think Dabo Swinney did some good looking in the mirror, and they added some transfers at important positions, and I think they'll be better for it. I do.
I'd be surprised if they have another down year. I think the talent is there. It's crazy.
Me too.
But then again, I thought the talent was there last year, so maybe I'm a little snake bit and not really ready to put myself out there. Anyone else kind of further down the list that's intriguing in your eyes this year? I look at all these teams, man. It's so hard to tell. You reference Georgia Tech. I don't love them, just being honest. I think they have a good back. I think there's too many questions on defense. I think there's too many questions at quarterback. I love NC State. I don't know why. I just really like their quarterback. I love their schedule, but I hate what they lost in the portal. So, that's kind of my sleeper. Is that an appropriate sleeper to you?
Yeah, that's my sleeper too, is NC State. And I keep apologizing to Dave Dorn, because I'm like, man, I understand you'd rather probably just not talk about it. But, we expect them to do big things every year, and they should. And I do believe, there's a reason he's still coaching. And I know there was a lot of talk about him potentially retiring, and he'll tell you that's not the case. He does feel, when I spoke to him at ACC spring meetings in Amelia Island, he felt really rejuvenated and really excited about this team. And I know it's 0-0 at this point. No one's played it down, but he got the commitment from his quarterback. When CJ Bailey was fielding calls and was getting calls, he wanted to be there. You saw improvement from him last year. He was thrown into the fire a couple of years ago. You bring in a guy like JoJo Trader, some explosive playmakers at Miami. And look, JoJo and CJ played together in high school. They have a great rapport. I like them too. Favorable schedule. They miss a lot of these top teams, which at this point with these massive conferences, that's half the battle, right? Is who is your schedule? I really am intrigued by Virginia Tech. And this is so off base, but I don't think Syracuse is necessarily going to make any kind of run. But I'm excited to see Steve Angeli, a healthy one, because last year when he got hurt early on, they were beating Clemson, which ended up finishing 7-6, and he was the leading passer in the country. So I don't even know what that looks like. I don't think they're going to be a team to compete, but I'd like to see him just at the quarterback position. And what JKS, Jaren Kiave Sangapolatelli, does at Cal under Tosh Lupoy, who I know you guys know as a first-year head coach. Is there any damage they can do from the West Coast in the ACC?
I think Cal's a team that could surprise some folks with some of what they have back and what they're going to look like. Taylor, great stuff. Thank you so much. I know you got a busy day ahead, busy couple days ahead. Thanks for joining us to help preview it. We'll catch up soon.
Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you soon.
There you go. Taylor Tannenbaum of the ACC Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to preview ACC Media Days. If we did have to select a number 2, who would it be? Who would be close? We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere. In the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingerberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.